Greetings everyone, it's time for the incoming wave where we talk about the influxes of new energies and frequencies that are integrating right now into our reality experience as we continue through this accelerated shift in consciousness. Quick reminder for everybody, these are not weekly horoscopes. What we are talking about is what is integrating and only continuing to expand and grow and become more prevalent and prominent as we continue from this week forward. So for those of you that are new, just keep that in mind. This isn't a 1 week and then here and done and gone kind of thing. That's not what we do on these incoming waves. I do present my findings live via my Patreon on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada. And I've also started doing a new live on Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada, called the Weekly Workings webinar, where I talk about what the strongest frequencies or strongest intentions or, what's getting the most support for your work and your creative process and your spiritual process for the coming week. We talk about tools, suggested stones, herbs, tones and frequencies, things you can incorporate to get the most out of that week. Again, that's on Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada. To have access to all of that and other Patreon goodies, it is a minimum of $5 per month pledge. But again, if you want to check that out, follow the links down below. And if you ever want to get a private session with me, you can go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. So let's talk about what is going on with this new wave, this new surge, and some things that came out in this live that were pretty damn cool. So the cards that we're presenting as our articulators were the Ten of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the Tower. And this is ultimately the beginning of the end in the best of ways possible. When I say the beginning of the end, I don't mean this in like a big, scary, fear-mongering way. You know me. I don't subscribe to trying to push things that get people into a fear preparatory, survival type of mode. I don't think that serves at all. In fact, I actually feel a lot of this is going to put a lot of people who do that through a lot of hell. But this is going to be the beginning of the end of a lot of illusions, as well as a lot of running, let's just say a lot of running normalities, a lot of running truths that have hit their the end of their expiration. They've hit their expiration date. And so let's dive in and talk about that. So one of the things that was the coolest about this was that most of these things are very much in the realm of the energetic, spiritual, etheric, esoteric. And so this is the powerhouse of magic sort of coming into everyone's reality experience. We actually have locked or stowed frequencies, or you might call them light codes, energetic frequency packets, whatever you want to term it. It does not matter. It really doesn't. Being released and activated on mass levels. So when we talk about things like light codes, the best way I would describe it is you can call it like a spiritual template, energetic template, things that assist in linking all of your energy bodies to their higher expressions and allow for your energy bodies and energy fields to actually start performing, behaving, creating, and vibrating in new ways, in more evolved ways, in higher level ways. And we talk about locked or stowed. I don't necessarily mean like, oh, big bad guy's gonna kill us and they have all the codes in a chest somewhere. I mean things that are getting released from all over, from, the planet herself, your own higher levels, your own I am presence, source, your Godhead, your Oversoul Godhead, the sun, all over, all of these new codes and frequencies coming through, right? Because we're watching a lot of these dense magnetic membranes start to come down, that light starts to shine through, those energies start to pour through and really do a number on a lot of the flows that have been running. And what happens here is there's this mass energetic cleanup, mass energetic clearing, but also that activation or reactivation of a lot of divine templates that you've been carrying in your own soul for all eternity. And so prepare for that. This is a time to pay attention to where you are agreeing to participate in certain realities and where you might not be, okay? So where these codes are coming from, how much you're getting and how much amped up, how powerful you are starting to feel, really all depends on your conscious engagement with the higher thing. We've also got Oversoul guidance realms, revealing and engaging during this time. And what's happening with that is that you're going to start to find that the guides that you have are actually a part of a bigger order, a bigger brotherhood, a bigger sisterhood, a bigger spirithood. And what that means is that there's actually this higher level of expressions that are all you, all connected to you, also working with your entire Oversoul population. Right? We talk about the Oversoul a lot on this channel. People that you are soul family with all have at the Godhead their shared very high level guidance realms. And that's where a lot of this is going to start working in, trickling in. We talk about guidance realms, revealing and engaging. Now we're starting to see a lot of people's roads start to open up in order to do sort of the catch up, right? It's almost like a video game where a new expansion is about to come out. So there's a lot of catch up stuff rolling out. It's easier to get the gear. It's easier to get the experience. It's easier to get the achievements. Now we're really starting to see that catch up energy flowing even more for willing hearts, for those that are willing to actually accept it and work with it. Now, I do want to stress with this, working with it and being willing has nothing to do with emoting, all right? Your readiness is about your conduct. So, if somebody's kicking and screaming on the ground, saying, I'm ready, why won't you give it to me? You're not saying you're ready at all, okay? For some reason, I got to put that out there right now, because there's a lot of correction that is also going on, especially when it comes to how people process the clearing of the old self and the embodiment of the new self. And there are even a lot of people who are, for all intents and purposes, awake that also need to go through this shift. You can't be love, light, peace, and the higher frequency reality in one hand, and then on the other, keep pushing fear and stimulating triggers. That's not how any of this works. And so these guidance realms coming in are offering a lot of catch-up opportunities, and a lot of healing as well. A lot of healing that is going to start creating a bigger flush, but also at the same time start really opening up, and dilating everyone's ability to perceive a multidimensional truth in a way that's actually going to get them back on a track that they thought they were looking for, but maybe we're looking in the wrong place for. We also have mass corrections and clarity of spiritual and energetic technology application. So we talk about clarity and corrections. This is where we kind of build up on what we talked about last week, where a lot of old teachings, religious teachings, mystery schools teachings, direction teachings, thought-based creation, whatnot. I hope nobody's still trying to manifest with their third eye. That's not what it's for. There's a big turnabout here where a lot of people are starting to actually get the downloads to understand how they actually operate, where their unique expression is operating at its strongest. Right? We don't all have the same gifts or the same expression. There is no such thing as two of the same. So there is going to be a lot of correction and clarity as to how a lot of things have been implemented. People are going to be needing to pay attention to where they have to drop maybe certain paths or certain applications that they've become attached to, certain practices they've become attached to, and they're going to have to be ready to adopt new ways of working with their energies. And the nice thing is this is an adoption, because this is something that is getting activated within the self. And there is some powerful assistance. And for everyone who is at the live, yes, we are going to talk about it in this video as well. A lot of codes, packets, and templates that come from art and literature are going to activate and align in full capacity. Now, what that means for those of you who are not in the live, there are things that we are assisted with, whether, they are the books and the stories that were, that really spoke to us, that really helped us to get in alignment, that were actually showing us how we work. It could have been music. It could have been, sometimes there are plenty of high vibe movies and high vibe TV shows and high vibe books out there that basically give you the story about how to make all of this work. And when you look at some of the people involved in that, you can definitely see, those were starseeds as well. The thing is that a lot of those old teachings, and when I mean old, I mean again, we're talking spiritual Sesame Street type stuff. You're going to find a lot of things are going to start clicking when you re-expose that. I myself have been listening to soundtracks from a lot of, older fantasy movies that I used to, love back in the 80s. I actually assigned it as homework for the live, watch Never-Ending Story and watch Jim Henson's The Labyrinth right now. And you will find that there are a lot of things in that are teaching you basically how to do this. And so you're going to find that a lot of those things are starting to wake up in you. And a lot of those things are calling you back. And again, yes, there is a lot of mediocrity out there. There is a lot of garbage out there. There is a lot of negative programming in the media. There has been, of course. But that doesn't mean you sweep it all away, right? There are always going to be opportunities, whether it's, again, yes, there are a lot of distortions coming out of the media. There are a lot of distortions coming out of religion. There are a lot of distortions coming out of cultural programs. We know that. That's old news. Thanks. Sit down, Mary. The thing is, there are things that also infiltrated those spaces in the interest of assisting those who would actually be activated and getting the opportunities to know how they work. And this is going to help a lot of you get back in touch, right? I can tell you right now, I have learned more from, the Lord of the Rings and, an anime than I have from certain blatherings of some very popular, Zen meme generators out there. It really all depends on how your own templates work. And this is where you're going to find, if you've been feeling called back to that, and again, I'm not talking about trash now, you use your discernment, you will find that a lot of these things are actually helping to start sync things up. Now, you are also going to need to be willing and able to also dissolve a lot of what was fake, a lot of what was clearly cultural programming, religious programming, political programming, all of that kind of stuff. Let's pay attention to where that was, let it go, but also allow yourself to learn, okay? We've got spiritual and energetic revelations, upending and dissolving energetic webs, co-created by religion and cultural programs as well. Webs being things that were, let's just say, teaching people's energy fields to foster attachments for sustenance with each other based on getting into, again, an ego mass like that, you know. And in the past, I've met people like that. You know, it's people who are, you know, very devoutly religious, but also because of the techniques that they were taught on, you know, again, or mistaught. No judgment to the follower, but they became somewhat vampiric, right? They became somewhat vampiric or oppressive in their energy field because they were doing with what they were taught to do in order to grow or climb in that religious or cultural program. A lot of these webs are getting dissolved, snatched, and broken apart. Some of them are getting broken apart manually. The rest of them are going to dissolve and decay into dust naturally. It really, you know, where it is, it all depends. But it is happening right now. The thing that you got to understand is, as those things go, be prepared to also be patient with people, because that's also taken away a bit of a drug, you know. It's taking away a lot of things that weren't so much resonating with their soul, but stimulating their energy bodies. And there's a difference between being simply stimulated and having a genuine resonance, right? A genuine spiritual resonance is not designed to get you angry or triggered or horny or volatile or depressed. It's not designed to do that, right? A genuine spiritual resonance is expansive. It is something that actually opens you up. And this is where a lot of this is doing that correction is going to work. In fact, you're also going to notice that through this, a lot of empathic and energetic pathogen exchange is diminishing to nothing. And so when I say pathogen exchange, I'm talking about sharing and picking up emotions that, you know, are just kind of happening, right? The exchanging of emotional states, the I'm going to make you feel what I'm feeling dynamic. You're going to feel what I'm feeling dynamic. That's not even going to work. You know, I'm going to say, just as we get past the 4th, 5th, that was one that kind of showed up. Yeah, about the 4th or the 5th going forward, you're going to realize, like, it's impossible for people to be made to feel what is going on there. The exchange needs to be a choice. I can understand and empathize and feel, but picking up on that energy, taking on that energy needs to be a choice. And so a lot of that is going through its correction now. But again, I think a lot of us are going to be feeling it just as we get to the 4th and 5th. So I hope that you found that helpful. Pretty cool stuff, pretty trippy stuff, but you know me, I think that's the best kind. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. Share with people that you know are going to be helped by this. And of course, remember, if you ever want to take part in the lives, whether it's the Tuesday live presentation of my findings for the incoming waves, or the Friday weekly workings webinar, go on ahead to my Patreon, follow the links below. $5 minimum pledge per month to have access to that. And of course, replays are always available to people who can't make the lives. And if you want to write a question before the live begins, I leave room in the posts where the links to the videos are going to be. So anywho, I'm going to let you go now. You guys take care, and thank you so much for tuning in and dropping by. I'll see you soon.